For 5 years, Takasaki prepared breakfast for his wife every single morning. But one day, he suddenly seemed to forget how to cut vegetables. He picked up a kitchen knife and slowly walked toward his sleeping wife. Gently waking her up, he told her that he no longer wanted to live. Shocked, his wife immediately took the knife from his hands. At first, she thought he was simply exhausted from work. However, after taking him to the hospital, they received a heartbreaking diagnosis. Takasaki was suffering from severe depression. Throughout their 5 years of marriage, Takasaki had always been a devoted husband. Every morning, he prepared a delicious breakfast before heading to work. Meanwhile, his wife, Kiara, was pursuing her dream of becoming a professional comic artist. As time passed, Kiara began noticing changes in her husband. He became forgetful, lost his appetite, and seemed to lose interest in life. One day, she found him staring silently at a trash bin. When she asked what he was doing, Takasaki replied that he wished he could become trash as well, so he could finally rest in peace and stop suffering. Takasaki worked as a customer service representative for a foreign company. Every day, he spent nearly 2 hours commuting on crowded trains just to get to work. On top of that, he was constantly criticized by his supervisors and treated poorly by customers. The endless pressure slowly crushed his spirit until he eventually fell into depression. He never told Kiara about his struggles because he had promised to support the family while she pursued her dream of creating comics. What Takasaki did not realize was that Kiara had long noticed the signs of his illness. As someone who loved documenting their lives through her drawings, she could clearly see the gradual changes in her husband. She tried everything she could to help him. She read books about depression, cooked his favorite meals, and encouraged him to rest. But despite her efforts, Takasaki's condition continued to worsen. At work, he requested lighter responsibilities, hoping to reduce his stress. Instead, his boss rejected the request and gave him even more work. The burden became unbearable, and thoughts of ending his life began to consume him. Deeply worried, Kiara urged her husband to quit his job. Eventually, Takasaki agreed, after realizing that his family was far more important than any promise he had made. While recovering at home, Kiara worked tirelessly to support them both. Even though publishers repeatedly rejected her comics, she refused to give up on her dream. However, the road to recovery was far from easy. One day, overwhelmed by exhaustion and stress, Kiara spoke harshly to her husband. She never intended to hurt him, but her words deeply affected Takasaki, who was still battling depression. Consumed by despair, Takasaki attempted to take his own life. Fortunately, Kiara discovered him in time and was able to save him. From that day forward, Kiara became even more determined to understand and support her husband. During this time, she discovered a notebook filled with Takasaki's thoughts, gratitude, and love for her. As she read each page, tears streamed down her face as she realized how deeply he cared for her. Little by little, Takasaki began to heal through the power of love, understanding, and unwavering support. After a year of recovery, he was finally able to return to a normal life. At the same time, Kiara's comic series achieved success. Inspired by their journey, she turned their story into a book to help others who were struggling with depression and hopelessness. Eventually, Takasaki was invited to share his experience with others. When asked what played the biggest role in his recovery, he answered without hesitation. "The greatest reason I was able to recover was my wife's endless love, patience, and support." Message of the story: depression is a real and serious illness. But with love, understanding, and support from people who genuinely care, healing becomes possible, and hope can be found once again.